Hi everyone, this is Joy with Create It with Joy. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's card is a really cute Frankenstein card from Unity Stamp Company. I have just kind of stumbled upon Unity Stamp Company and I am just really loving what they've got going on. So let's get started on this cute Halloween card. So what I'm doing first is taking Lawn Fawn's stitched Hillside border dies and I'm lining them up on my paper kind of wonky, and it's just a white piece. It's Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. I'm going to be doing some ink blending on this cardstock. So I'm just running it through kind of wonky. I want this stitched background to kind of go along with Frankenstein, that he's all stitched together. It was actually, my son kind of gave me this idea. We were kind of on the same page and he was like, what about a stitched background? And I'm like, that's genius, let's do it. So adding another piece down at the bottom, I ended up cutting 6 pieces out of this. You could do it with paper piecing. And I originally had that thought in my brain until I was deciding how I was going to make them all fit together, and it seemed like way too much work for me. So I am doing it this way and coloring the paper, which I actually think I would have liked better anyways. So now I've got all my papers cut, and I am using Distress Oxide inks. I'm using, what's this first one? This first one is Carved Pumpkin. I'm also using Twisted Citron, Wilted Violet, Hickory Smoke, and Black Soot. So I'm going through and coloring with Carved Pumpkin. The next one is going to be Hickory Smoke. You could have also put, like ground espresso. Any of the brown colors would have been great in this, but I felt like gray, it was different than his brown outfit that you'll see here in a minute. Now here's Twisted Citron, just adding some color down, just going through how each one is going to be laid out, making sure I don't have duplicate colors next to each other. I did decide I wanted to start with orange and end with orange, so I'm doing that. This is Wilted Violet. Then I'm going to do Hickory Smoke one more time, and then Carved Pumpkin. Really super easy to make a great background. You could do this with any colors. And so it's kind of like, using your colored cardstock, but for people that are just mentally challenged that way, for me, it's a lot easier. So finishing up the last one, and I'm laying down the color nice and heavy. I want good color on this. Then I'm going to take Black Soot and go around all the edges of each individual piece. So then it just kind of gives it this kind of old grungy feel, which I think when you kind of look at Frankenstein, he kind of gives you that feel. He's a little bit grungy. So I'm going to do that for each one. And then if I need to take more of the other color to it to kind of blend it out, I did, but not a whole lot, because I really liked that some spots were a little bit darker than others. But if it was just a little too harsh, I just took the other color that was the background and blended that out. Making sure I'm cleaning up underneath each spot so I don't drag a darker color onto like my Twisted Citron or something like that, because then you're starting all over and that's just not fun. I say that from experience because I have done it way too many times, because I'm feeling a tad bit lazy and I'm just like, it'll be fine. It's not fine. So finishing this up, and I just love how it separates each piece from one another. You also have the stitching, and the way I lined up some of the die cuts, there's not a stitching on all connecting pieces, but I actually think it turned out okay. When I realized I did it, it was an accident and I was a little bit bummed, but I thought, you know what, it's kind of imperfect and that's how Frankenstein is, and I think you probably wouldn't notice it unless I said it anyways. So it worked out great. So going on to my last piece, but can you see how that looks so much better? It has just got way more definition and this background is kind of a big deal to this piece. So I had a little too much Black Soot there, so I needed to kind of soften that up. And now we're good to go. I just love these Halloween colors. I think they're so much fun. So that's done. So now I had already colored my Frank from Unity Stamp off camera. I cut him out, fussy cut him, and now I'm taking a black marker and coloring around all the edges so you don't see the white edge, and it just finishes him off. And I'm sorry that it's not super in view. I have just been struggling with my camera placement lately and it just kept moving on me. So now I'm taking an A2 sized white card base. I think I just did it on the card base. Yeah, I did not do it on another panel. And laying down some You could do liquid glue, but I just did a tape runner, and I'm just putting it together like a nice puzzle piece, and it worked out perfect. I mean, other than the coloring, which I had done off camera already, this card is so fast and super simple. This would be a great background to also just have some die cuts. Now, this black cardstock is from Lawn Fawn's Black Licorice, and I use Spellbinders labels. I think it's 6 labels 8 is what it's called, or labels 8, to center in that to put Frankenstein on. And I did that with foam tape, and I'm also putting some foam tape behind Frankenstein. I used some Copic markers to color him with. I just did some greens, some browns, and some cool grays, and that was it. And I'm sorry I didn't have that colored on camera. I was chilling out on the couch one day and just needed to do something, and I did it, and then I needed to make a card. So now here is the sentiment. It says, "Frank you very much." So I think even though it's a Halloween card, you can give this to somebody during the Halloween season. It doesn't have to have a Halloween sentiment. So I trimmed that out. I'm taking my black glaze pen to his buttons on his shirt, to his eyes, and I will also take it to his hair because I like this glaze pen. It adds a nice shiny element to it, which brings it to life. It's perfect for critters and things like that on their eyes. But because he's got all this black hair, I just went around that. Now, if you notice on his black hair, there's lots of white highlights. I did not cover up all of those white highlights. You still wanted to keep that in there without having to add it. So I just really did color where there was the black ink from the stamping before. So coloring that in, working around the white highlights. If you happen to color over it, you could let this dry and use a white gel pen to add white highlights. No big deal. But isn't he super cute? Like, these images from Unity Stamp Company are so cute. I bought a ton of their Halloween images, so I will definitely have more of those coming, and I will show the coloring on that. I'm taking my white gel pen, adding a little bit of highlight to his shoes and to the bolts coming out of the side of his head. I really didn't want to add a ton more because he was darling. So here is the sentiment, just using some tape runner, and I'm going to attach that to the front of him. Add a little bit of Nuvo Ebony Black crystal drops around, and he's pretty much done. I think he is such a cutie, and I think you get the background that it's stitched and he's stitched, and it's definitely got the Halloween feel. But how cute is that? I love this card. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. You're always a blessing to me. If you like what you've seen, please thumbs up, subscribe, comment, share. I also have some affiliate links below, and so it costs you nothing, but it does continue to help me create. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.